on this episode of The Accent on Air. You don't have to be from Italy to enjoy the Feast of the Seven Fishes, plus a Slovak Christmas Eve tradition that you can start at home.
Enchanting images of the Christmas creche fill the home of a Greensburg priest. Countless nativity scenes collected over decades as part of my story. I'm Paul Patera. Stay tuned for The Accent on Air.
And then a look at the Christmas traditions that have traveled all the way from the Philippines to Western PA. The Accent on Air starts right now. Welcome to The Accent on Air. I'm Jennifer Mealy. Christmas traditions differ around the world and from home to home. The traditions we pass down from generation to generation help us to prepare our hearts and minds to celebrate the birth of Jesus. Monsignor Larry Kulik says Advent is the perfect time to start that preparation. Monsignor, I remember during one of your homilies last year, you said that Advent is a time that's ours, that it's very important that people don't jump directly from Thanksgiving to Christmas. Can you explain that?
Advent is one of the shortest seasons of the church's liturgical year, so we have to take advantage of every opportunity in that short window of time to make it as spiritually enriching as possible. And Advent is a time of preparation. And so I like to say that Advent is a beautiful journey and a very beautiful pilgrimage to bring us to Christmas. And you know, I think so many times we can all relate that, isn't it true, sometimes there's more energy and more work in the preparation than there is in doing something, whether that might be cooking, the preparation that goes into a meal. It's all in the prep. And so I like to think that Christmas is all about the preparation. How do we prepare ourselves for the beautiful feast of the Incarnation of Christ?
That's not always how our culture behaves, though. Microwave dinners, drive-through fast food. So you really highlight the preparation part.
That's why I like the custom of the Advent calendar, because we all know how quickly the time passes. So we have to make a special intention and savoring every moment and every day of the rather short season. One of the things I always say at this time of the year is you never go into a store or even on the internet and see this big headline, Advent sale. It's always Christmas sale. So our culture around us is really celebrating Christmas long before the church celebrates the Christmas season. So we have to make it very purposeful and intentional that we enter into this season.
COVID-19, of course, is going to force us to either postpone or minimize the number of traditional gatherings that we have. What's one of the traditions that you'll miss this year?
Well, I think without a doubt it will be our annual Slovak Christmas Eve dinner that we've done for 27 years at the Christ Our Shepherd Center. What we started 27 years ago was really having a traditional Slovak Christmas Eve dinner that really allowed people to not only experience what a traditional Stredi Večer or bountiful evening or Vilia, a vigil dinner was for Christmas, but the hope that we had was it would also rekindle in some people who have stopped doing that tradition a desire to reinstate it, or for younger people to come to learn how to do it and to continue that important tradition.
A dance troupe called the Pittsburgh Slovakians take great pride in their performance about the birth of Christ. The dancers span generations, and their camaraderie is moving.
When you become a member, you're a member for life. Even you, if you go to school, you come back, you're one of us.
Their annual performance in Greensburg is always preceded by a traditional Slovak Christmas Eve meal organized by the First Catholic Slovak Union.
One of the great customs is the evening meal usually starts with, if not the youngest, one of the youngest children looking for and finding the star of Christmas Eve. And the appearance of the star is always a sign that the meal can begin and that the evening has come upon us. Tonight we're very happy to have with us John Yakubushin. John is age 5, and he is a member of branch 199 of the First Catholic Slovak Union. See, John, if you can see the star. What do you think, John? Is it good? We got it? Okay.
On the table, colorful oplaki, or Christmas wafers with honey and garlic.
And so the oplaki is both a Christmas offering, like the Eucharist is an offering in the unleavened bread, but it also reminds us of our passage from sin to the life of grace. The garlic on the table was always taken first, and it reminds you of the bitter herbs. And the garlic is to symbolize sin and the world before Christ that was a worldless sin.
Guests dip the oplaki into the honey and allow the sweetness to overcome the bitter taste of garlic, just as Christ overcame sin and death. The next course is mushroom soup, which symbolizes prosperity because mushrooms grow without being planted.
It's beyond my expectations. Actually, I didn't know what to expect, but it suddenly, in this rush and stress and the responsibilities that you have, suddenly there's this moment of calming down and realizing how important moment is coming in several weeks.
The Slovak Christmas traditions are especially meaningful to many who remember a time when they couldn't practice their Catholic faith in Slovakia. That all changed after the fall of communism in 1989.
There are a lot of young people who are reinventing themselves, who are finding strong belief inside this still more and more secular world.
The Bountiful Night event has plans to resume next year, and if you're interested in attending, visit theaccentonline.org. Vesele Vianose.
Bacala and smelts are on the menu for the Italian Feast of the Seven Fishes. I'm John Zilka. In case you don't have an Italian grandma, I'll fish out the details for you.
The Nativity evokes the miracle of Jesus' humble birth. I'm Paul Patera. Coming up, I'll show you a beautiful collection of nativity sets and share with you the history behind them.
Let's turn your home into something really cool, like a dream vacation or a new addition, or both. Let's make it easy by putting a great rate on a home equity line of credit. Let's get started, online or at your local First National Bank branch.
Hello, my name is Ashley Frederick. I'm the third-generation family member of Unity Printing located in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. At Unity Printing, we produce digital and offset printing, screen printing, embroidery, signage, trophies, awards, plaques, glass etching, and promotional items. At Unity Printing, we produce all of our products in-house, therefore we can assure that your branding matches across all of our different product lines. In addition, we have a very high accuracy rate, the rate in which we complete jobs without any mistakes, which is always above 99%.
My great-great-grandparents started Rizzo's 84 years ago, and we're still here today. Same business, same family, same location. We have our lines of sauce and pasta in the stores. We have a banquet facility. We have a line of chocolates. The business really has expanded, but consistent is the tradition and the quality. We're about tradition here at Rizzo's, and we invite you to come start a tradition yourself.
Let's talk about a checking account that fits you, with smart technology that puts security and control at your fingertips. Let's power it all with people who care. Let's get started, online or at your local First National Bank branch.
Just in case your grandma is not Italian, here's a story about the Italian Christmas Vigil, also known as the Feast of the Seven Fishes. Too bad this isn't smell-o-vision. Smelts and bacala being cleaned and soaked, fish sauteing in garlic and oil. It's the smell of an Italian Christmas. And it's something Father Tony Ditto will never forget.
The house really didn't smell that great a couple of days before Christmas Eve because you had all that fish in the house.
But the taste, now that was worth a day of fasting on Christmas Eve.
The tradition of eating fish on the vigil came from a time when the Roman Catholic tradition you abstained from eating meat before a feast day. So Christmas being a feast day, the vigil, they ate fish. My grandfather always said that the seven fish represented the seven sacraments. The meal is always pointing towards Christ. La Viglia di Natale, the vigil of Christmas.
After a big family meal, Father Tony remembers the smells at Vigil Mass.
It smelled of incense, lots of incense, But since everybody ate fish and garlic, we smelled a lot of garlic in the air also.
Father Tony says your menu doesn't have to have 7 different fishes on it, or even any of the traditional fish.
We would have the smelts, and we would have the calamari, and they would also make the salted cod, which is bacala. And I know my mother used to add shrimp, crab legs, tuna, or bronzino, or whatever nice fish. But now is a great time to renew the tradition of gathering as a family. The food is secondary. It's gathering as a family, and always pointing towards why we're gathering as a family, that we're celebrating a feast that allows us to gather as a family. We're celebrating the feast of Christ being born. That was always why we celebrated La Vigilia, the vigil.
A nativity scene, or creche, depicts the birth of Jesus. Legend has it that the first creche was put together by St. Francis of Assisi to help people focus on the real meaning of Christmas. To bring it into a three-dimensional reality, Francis put together the creche, the nativity scene, to show the important people who were present at the birth of Jesus. I have always had an affinity to nativity sets. Over the years, I have acquired a number of nativity sets. I've never actually counted them all. I know there's over 30, probably closer to 50, but many people have gifted me with them. Of the numerous nativity sets that I have, one that is older than me, it was in my parents' home. As long as I can remember, I was able to get it following their deaths, and it reminds me of their love and the fact that being an adopted person, God's love adopts each and every one of us as His son and daughter, and it's a constant reminder of the great grace I had from my parents. My affinity comes from the fact that it is a single scene that teaches us about God's willingness to become one of us. It's a setting that reminds us He chose to unite Himself with the life of hard work and the life of love. You can see that in almost every nativity set that exists. One thing that they all have in common, they all focus on the Christ child. Nobody is looking in the mirror, nobody's looking at a cell phone, nobody is looking at anybody else. Even the animals are focused on the Christ child. And it reminds me that that is our focus and should be our focus at Christmas time and certainly all the year through. It is a very simple, all-in-one reminder of the birth of Jesus and the particular way that Jesus was born. He was born in a stable, laid in a manger, which was basically a feeding trough for the animals, and was surrounded by simple people who were united by the call of the angels to come and see the newborn King.
St. Nicholas is the patron saint of children. Call for the kiddos and bring them over to the screen, because they may want to start this German tradition in your house.
The Christmas tradition of nut rolls brings in the dough for dozens of local parishes. I'm Mary Siemens, and coming up next, I'll share a traditional family recipe and a sweet baking hack.
At St. Vincent College, we learn, we listen, we explore, and we rise together. Here, you'll discover a community that is ready to help you pursue your goals and prepare you for success. Schedule a virtual visit now at stvincent.edu/visit.
Adelphi is a great place to build career skills. While working in Adelphi, you'll learn how to work with people, manage youth behaviors, and develop communication skills while receiving valuable training and professional development that can advance your career. Adelphi has programs in over 30 counties in Pennsylvania, including residential group homes, foster and adoptive care, education services, and in-home treatment options. If you'd like to be the difference in a child's life, apply today at adelphi.org or call 724-804-7117.
When things go wrong, Ford Business Machine's experienced service technicians know just what to do. With over 200 years of combined experience, there's no paper jam too difficult for our experts to clear. Don't take matters into your own hands and risk permanent damage.
She's gonna be all right, everyone.
Simply pick up the phone and dial today and save the life of your copier.
Advent is a time of preparation and penance. During the week of grace, prepare your heart to receive the Lord at Christmas. Extended opportunities for the sacrament of penance are happening at every parish community throughout the Diocese of Greensburg. For a list of confession times, visit dioceseofgreensburg.org/Week of Grace.
Here's a story your kids won't want to miss about a patron saint who brings them fruit and candy. They may want to start this Christmas tradition in your house. This time of year is the perfect opportunity for children to learn about the German tradition celebrated on December 6th, the feast day of St. Nicholas. The patron saint of children usually makes a yearly visit to St. Margaret Mary Church in Lower Borough.
The kids at our event, they learn about St. Nicholas because he actually comes to visit them. And he grew up in a very wealthy family, but what's really cool is that wasn't what was important to him. You know, he decided at one point in time that, children was, what was important, and he gave everything away to children.
Legend has it that he and his companions would visit homes on the eve of December 5th to ask parents if their children were behaving. Then children placed their shoes or slippers out for St. Nicholas to fill with small gifts of fruit, candy, coins, and treats. If the story sounds a lot like Santa Claus, you may be onto something. Over time, St. Nicholas has become a secular tale, but the tradition is still celebrated all over the world. Families are invited to a virtual visit with St. Nicholas this year, Saturday, December 5th at 6 p.m. on the Diocese of Greensburg Facebook page. The visit will be pinned to the top of the page, so log on anytime and learn how to start the tradition in your home.
In almost every county in Pennsylvania, you'll find at least one parish with a dedicated group of parishioners who roll out dough, spread on a thick layer of sweet and crunchy nuts, and bake to perfection a holiday favorite that helps to raise much-needed money for their faith community. I know this from experience because I have tried just about all of the parish-made nut rolls in the Diocese of Greensburg, and I have never been disappointed. People tend to think of these sweet, nut-filled pastries as an Eastern European dessert, but many nationalities make similar pastries using nuts. In the Philippines, families combine nuts with more of a cake-like dough. Germans create strudel, drizzled with icing or powdered sugar, while the Greeks have their honey-sweetened baklava. My grandmother, Mary Stoffen, brought our family recipe from Slovakia when she came to America in 1912. I remember eating her delicious nut rolls as a small child when we visited her home in Wickhaven. She passed away in 1981, but my mother, Frances Stavovi, continues the family tradition and has been making them throughout her lifetime. She taught me, and now we are teaching my daughter Becky how to make this treasured holiday treat, so the tradition continues for another generation. Bubba's recipe starts with a buttery dough. The taste always reminds me of Christmas. It's important to thoroughly knead the dough and let it rise for 3.5 hours. Finely ground walnuts mixed with lemon rind, sugar, and vanilla make the delicious filling. Once the dough is ready, we roll it out, spread the filling evenly, and then roll them up. We let it rise for another hour before coating it with an egg wash and baking it 30 minutes at 350 degrees. Generations of volunteers at St. James the Greater Parish in Apollo have been making nut rolls 2 times each year for more than 60 years. In 1968, The pastor asked Veronica Hoke and Veronica Metro if they could make and sell nut rolls to help pay off the church's mortgage. The two women agreed and are still in charge of baking to this day, raising an average of $15,000 each year for the parish. But don't expect to ever see their recipe. It's a secret, and it's said to be kept in a safe at the parish. Since our family recipe is a yeast-filled dough and will need to rise twice, the preparation takes many hours. If you would like to make something similar in just a fraction of the time, I have included a baking hack that starts with frozen bread dough and only 5 other ingredients. I asked our Chief Communications Officer, Jen Mealy, to try it. The busy working wife and mom of 2 said the taste was fantastic. Both recipes are available at theaccentonline.org. Start your own Christmas tradition using either recipe. Dobru shut. Enjoy.
In addition to in-person Christmas Masses all over the Diocese of Greensburg, you can also watch Christmas Masses on television or streaming on the Diocese website and Facebook page. Join us for Christmas Vigil Mass at 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve and 10 a.m. on Christmas Day from Blessed Sacrament Cathedral in Greensburg. Both Masses will air on PCNC, the Pittsburgh Cable News Channel. Christmas Day Mass will also air at noon on WPXI Channel 11.
Living nativity scenes are a tradition for many parishes in the Diocese of Greensburg, but the pandemic may change that. I'm Jordan Whiteco. COVID-19 means we will bring the tradition to you right here on the Accent on Air.
These individuals are representative of the many women and men who have never stopped giving during COVID-19. They are truly heroes of hope. Now you too can support the good work being done in God's name. Please donate today to Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Greensburg for our first Guardian Angel Appeal, providing food, clothing, and financial support to the needy. Visit our website today to become a Guardian Angel for your community.
In Pennsylvania, there are 14,000 children who have been removed from unsafe situations. While we hope that number stops you in your tracks, we also want to remind you these children are more than a number. There are 14,000 names, stories, fears, hopes, and dreams. They are kids who deserve to know they belong, and the community is here to support them by becoming foster parents. Adelphi Foster Care and Adoption Services is asking for your help to say, I can make a difference. Call us today at 1-800-KID-5928 to learn how.
At St. Vincent College, we learn, we listen, we explore, and we rise together. Here, you'll discover a community that is ready to help you pursue your goals and prepare you for success. Schedule a virtual visit now at stvincent.edu/visit.
Today, we're celebrating the Feast of the Epiphany, the manifestation of the Lord to the Magi, His revelation as a light to all nations. And we just finished celebrating here in the parish church the Epiphany experience. An opportunity for young and old to come together with animals and all of God's creation as we retell the story and give our parishioners the opportunity to have a hands-on experience of the Epiphany event. 16 years ago, this got started here in the parish along with the parishioners at St. Mary Parish. We have the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd in St. Mary Parish. Catechesis of the Good Shepherd is based on the Montessori method, which is a hands-on learning experience. And so it was a wonderful way for the children to learn what Christmas and the Epiphany experience were all about. And because we all know the story of the Nativity, the shepherds, the angels, the wise men, it's very easy for everyone to enter into the spirit of the celebration. So it doesn't really require a lot of preparation. But the other important thing is that anyone who wants to be in the Epiphany experience is welcome to. We'll create as many parts are as needed, shepherds, angels, certainly not more wise men than 3, but the other characters, we can always add a few more. And every year we choose one of the families who have had a baby at the end of the year so that they get to portray Mary and Joseph. They have a special tender love for their child, especially if it's a firstborn child, and so it's natural for them to express the tenderness of the Holy Family of Nazareth as they went through that experience of bringing the child to birth in a stable. The live animals help to create that feel as well with the smell. Sometimes the animals are messy And that's why we roll up the carpeting from the aisles as we come into church, just so that it's very easy for cleanup afterwards. But when we recall that Jesus was born in the stable, it wasn't a pretty scene. It was quite messy, and that's what Jesus chose to do for us. He gave up being God and entered into our human experience. So that's why I think it's so important that we continue this tradition here in New Kensington to give our people that experience of being in that stable in Bethlehem 2,000 years ago. There's something very special about actually participating in it with a live baby and Mary and Joseph. So certainly with live animals and with costumes, this event gives our children the opportunity to truly celebrate and enter into the feast.
The Diocese of Greensburg now has more than a dozen Filipino priests serving our parishes.
Here are some of the Christmas traditions carried across the world to Western PA.
What I remember most in the Philippines about Christmas, whenever like September comes, you will hear already Christmas carols being played in the radio, in the television, and you will hear all those Christmas carols. And I miss that. Simbang Gabi from Misa de Gallo, wherein people would come to the church as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, and that is for 9 days, from December 16 to December 24th. It's like a preparation for Christmas. And we believe that if we attend that the whole 9 days, you will receive whatever you prayed for, you will receive that. And you will see that in the streets, in church and the malls, you will see a lot of Christmas decorations. The significance of the parole, which is a light inside, it's made of bamboo, and then a light materials of Japanese paper. When the Spaniards came, the Filipinos would have this parole outside. It's like being used to light your way towards the church, since people would wake up early, and mostly people are farmers, so they need a light going to the church because it's dark. As time goes by, it becomes more elaborate, decorative. We'll see a lot of kids going house to house, singing Christmas carols. People whom been caroled, they would give as a gesture of appreciation, maybe loose coins or goods, to just kind of let those carolers feel that they are being appreciated. It's just so uplifting to see these people, young and old, would come, and they're just excited to celebrate Christmas.
Thanks for watching the Accent on Air. Check out the list of in-person and streaming Christmas masses at theaccentonline.org.